Hey y'all, welcome to the Why Podcast, where why is always the question. And let me talk to y'all for a little bit because I'm going to play a clip by the brother Mike Rashid. I'm going to play a clip by the brother Mike Rashid and something that he said on the Nick Cannon podcast, which I completely disagreed with.
Rule number one is identify where you want to be at. Like my son, this is my heart right. He's 18, smart as hell.
Right.
He got hands, he boxes, he lift weights, he makes beats. He ain't doing nothing but what he wants to do. And you're gonna be rich doing that. You're not working a silly job. That's a waste of time. And that's what people gotta understand. Like, y'all are wasting your time. Y'all are wasting your time. Y'all are wasting your time.
I mean, we often hear too much that the only way to financial freedom is by quitting your job and going into entrepreneurship. Now, unless you out here doing something illegal to make some money and you don't have to work a job, which a lot of people have done in the past, I'm not saying no names, where they can, excuse my French, shit on people that do have jobs. We all can't be comfortable with doing something illegal to start our initial investment, right? Now, in this day and time, it will be wise to have not only a job, but also a business on the side because, baby, they are cutting jobs like turkey necks. You understand me? And I get an amen. I'm out here seeing folks like teaching jobs where it's like, dang, the teachers, I mean, they always on the front line. Their jobs are getting cut. The Department of Education is getting cut. I mean, tech workers, I mean, there's a caveat to all of this, but they're cutting jobs left and right. They're cutting jobs left and right. You know, those that are that are higher ups are figuring out ways that they can keep money in their pocket by cutting the workforce and entering a new age of AI. But that's you know what? That's another show. I'm not even going to get into that. We are focused on breaking down why you don't have to choose between entrepreneurship and earning a paycheck to build real wealth. They both can live in the same atmosphere. So for today's why working a 9-to-5 to build wealth isn't silly, let's go ahead and get into it. So I have me a couple of bullet points here, right, of what I want to talk about. Because we have to understand that before we step into anything, there has to be a mind shift. And I know we hear too often, mind shift. And for the average listener or the average person out here, sometimes they're like, well, what does that even mean, a mind shift? The old way of thinking isn't getting you to wealth. You got to adapt a new way of thinking to get you to wealth. It's simple as that. You got to put a plan in place, a realistic plan. For me, I'm podcasting. I love podcasting. I got a big mouth. I like to talk, but I'm also very knowledgeable. I love researching. And so I'm like, I'm going to bring some information that I know to my audience, right? And what my opinion is, and we can have a conversation about it in the discussions. And there are other things and other business ventures that I step into that are important to me. I don't do something that I'm not going to be 100% passionate about. Now, some may say, that's not smart. You need to do it even if you don't like it. No, I got this one life to live. I'm building it. I'm building the future for myself and my children because I got to tell my children, baby, I'm still young, so I still got a future as well. However, I'm going to make sure to invest within myself and what it is I really naturally, genuinely love. So a mindset shift is very important to embrace wealth building as a working professional. And there are several working professionals from Robert Kiyosaki. If you haven't read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I'm going to cover in the reading corner. What's my guy's name? The 9-to-5 millionaire. The 9. I gotta get his name because I gotta make sure. Jamal King is not who I'm talking about. Storm Leroy, the 9-to-5 millionaire. You also have a gentleman by the name of Jamal King, who's also the 9-to-5 millionaire. I can go down a list. I mean, our brothers over at EYL, Troy and Rashad, 9-to-5 millionaires. Troy at one point was working as a teacher, school teacher, teaching physical education, and Rashad was working as a finance manager or a finance, exec or whatnot. He actually, I believe he mentioned he had his own business. However, nonetheless, I'm mentioning these people because they all started off as 9-to-5ers. And they were able to build wealth and get to millionaire status. And so I'm here to debunk that's not silly. I just really, when I heard this, okay, let me tell y'all. I gotta do my little rant because I went on a rant. I felt some kind of way. I'm like, why would you say, y'all seen the video? Listen, I entered the video. Brother Mike Rashid, when he was on the Nick Cannon podcast, when he mentioned that working a job is silly, I was like, what? Why would you? Well, how? Now, granted, not everybody is at their job learning the systems and thinking to themselves, one day I'm going to start my own company and my own job and take this and to do something with it as well. Not everybody is thinking that. Everybody should be thinking it. Hence the reason why I'm making this podcast and this episode. You should be thinking that. For me, working a 9-to-5, okay, it gives you structure. Any entrepreneur needs structure. That's the first step to entrepreneurship. You can't do anything without structuring yourself to seek to win. And if a 9-to-5 is the way you start doing it, all the better, depending on what industry you're going into. But most business meetings are taken between 9 to 5 because people got families. And they don't want to spend all their time talking to you, okay? And I mean, that's just realistic. So I went on a whole tangent because I'm like, how would you say that's silly if I can utilize my job to build discipline, to learn how systems are created? Like the examples are all around us. We have examples on what it is to be an entrepreneur. And then what we don't know or don't have the examples of, there are books and there's information out there for us to learn and to read. We just have to take the time to do it. Hence, again, back to the mind shift. You have to say, I'm willing to, spend X amount of minutes, hours putting in the work of what it takes to start a business on the side while I'm working. We're in a time where we can automate so many things. We can put things on autopilot and now we're working on 9 to 5, but our business is over here getting done. Now you got to do is push a few buttons, make sure things are still running. And now you're seeing an additional income source coming into your bank account. That you can now take that additional income source and you can invest that if you like. Like my man Robert Kiyosaki said, he does not invest in things that can go away like paper money. he invests in things that are tangible, that he can touch, like real estate and gold and oil, whatever the case may be. We are in a time where you can learn something, put it to work, automate it, and you can see that additional source of income. But you have to have that mind shift. And I have my bullet points right here, so I keep looking down. You have to understand that being in a job can be a financial trap if you don't set yourself up for something outside of just that job. And unfortunately, because so many jobs are being cut, so many people are realizing that now. Hopefully, those of you that had already gotten started and realized this shift was coming when the pandemic happened, you already got a leg up. And others that didn't take it quite as seriously, listen, there's still time. Don't let propaganda or anything out here scare you to say there's not enough time. As long as there's lungs in your breath, there's time, all right? So that's first step. Create a mindset shift. Next, what you want to do, you want to leverage your income. You want to make your salary work for you because, yes, these systems that I spoke about, they're not free. You have to pay them. So if we're going to automate our systems by utilizing software or technology, we have to automate the payment plans for them. And so hence here comes our job, our first business partner, to say, okay, this is the amount of money I can put towards building my business. Realistically, right? Realistically. I mean, I'll do a case study next time. If you want a case study, let me know. I'll definitely do a case study where I can break down what that looks like, because sometimes people need more examples. I'm an example person, but I'm also a researcher, so I can find the examples for myself. But let's say you have X amount of dollars. So say you can only, take $100 a month. All right. So a lot of these particular programs, some are cheaper if you pay for the year. Some are monthly. I broke down what it takes monthly for the systems that I use for my podcast. And I was like, okay, cool. I pay about $77 a month for the tools that I use to make my podcast run smoothly the way I would like it to. Because I want B-roll clips. I want to make sure that I have a podcasting platform, because as you guys have seen in my other shows, that I also do interviews, and everyone is not where I'm located. I also have to market my podcast, right? And so therefore I use things like Opus Clips to help chop up my videos and give me really good quality, marketing tools to market my podcast. And there are some other things that I use. I can't think of everything off the top of my head. However, you have to make sure to leverage your income, you take whatever amount of money that you can use to automate some of these systems out here. And I'm just using something as a podcast as an example, but there are plenty of other businesses you can do on the side. You can do Turo, you can do Hire Car, you can do Airbnb. I've done a few of those things as well. And yes, it takes money, but if you manage your money well, you can leverage your income to be able to bring in additional income sources. And this is one way you can make your salary work for you. So you have to budget, right? Some people like to go by the 50-30-20 rule, where you're allocating income efficiently. 50% of spending because you got bills, gas, rent, all the things, right? 30%. Now, some may say 30% in savings or 30% in investing. If you have an investment vehicle, whether it's stocks, bonds, that can bring in money that you've seen, or you heard of, because we're not going to act like we're doing this already, right? I'm doing this, on a small scale, but we're going to act like we're just getting started. If you've researched and you've seen people like, Chris Sane or EYL on Market Mondays discussing how to invest in stocks, and you're doing it on a small level, you may say, okay, I want to take 30% of my paycheck and invest that. And then 20% in savings, because, I need to make sure I have a savings account. I would also say, because that equals up to 50. EYL in their book did a really, really good breakdown in their book, You Deserve to Be Rich. Because realistically, no one wants to just work, pay bills. Yes, we want to invest to make more money and save. But I saw this really cute shirt, at Target, and I wouldn't mind buying it, right? We have to have a budget for those things. And yes, there will be sacrifice. There will be sacrifice from being a 9-to-5er and you on your way to being a millionaire. You have to realize that, which again, that goes back into the mind shifts, mindset shift, which is why you have to embrace that. There are some things you may not be able to do comfortably like you used to be able to do. I thought I was going to say comfortably. You may not be able to do the same thing, brunch on Saturday with the girls. Like you're going to have to sacrifice some things. That's why mindset shift is the first thing that you start with. So, but when you're leveraging your income, and you break down your income after taxes, because nobody's counting money that we can't touch, that we no longer have available to us, right? After our gross, not our net. Once you break that down and you know how much you're able to allocate towards your systems, now okay, I have this in place that you can focus on. This is the automations. And then you also can have you can set your savings up for automations. You can set your investments up for automations. Like this helps. Something else that we can also do is, like I just mentioned, reduce unnecessary expenses while still enjoying life. So yeah, you may want that cute shirt from Target, but I'll challenge you like this. If somebody I don't know. I don't care what somebody has got to say. You and I are having a conversation. I try personally to do item in, item out. And what that means is, I'm not going to front like I don't have a huge walk-in closet upstairs with a bunch of clothes and shoes. I do. I'm a thrifter. I love thrifting. I had a pair of shoes. I needed to replace those heels a long time ago. I'm using this as an example. But I was like, when I find something similar to these or this color, I'll get rid of them. I stumbled across some brand new, really nice Michael Kors shoes at the thrift store. Same color, that nice peanut butter, dark caramel color that I wanted. And I said, oh, okay, cool. I got these in. Now that item can go out. So that's what I mean by item in, item out. You have to be okay with what you have and sacrificing for, investing in your future. That's what it's going to take. Now, number 3, that I want to go into, multiple streams of income while working your full-time job. As I mentioned, there are so many different avenues that you can go down, whether it's Airbnbs, whether it's Turo, hire car, podcasting, social media. And some things take time. Some things are more instant. Growing a following, these things take time. If you have a car right now that's sitting in your driveway that you don't use much, look into hire car. Make sure you have insurance on it, it's in good working shape. Look into hire car. There's probably a college student out here that wants to drive for Uber or Lyft or do deliveries or whatnot that need a vehicle and they can't afford to buy one, but they wouldn't mind paying for your car weekly. That's an additional, amount of income that's coming in already that you didn't have to necessarily put too much into. Now everybody may not have an additional car lying around or $3,000 to $5,000 to invest in themselves to start an Airbnb. But whatever your thing is, let me tell you something. My children are entrepreneurs, okay? Hey, I say I'm going to initially invest in your little business. They like to sell snacks at school because, kids want snacks. And they don't necessarily want the snacks out of the vending machines at the school. So, okay, listen, we'll go to Costco, I'll get you your snacks. And so they're sitting up here and they're doubling up their money. It's teaching entrepreneurship. So, if you got to hook up on flowers, I see people out here selling roses around Valentine's Day. Whatever your thing is, figure out the different streams of income that you can use and do while still working your full-time job. That's not going to take too much effort because realistically, a lot of us are tired. But we have to go from our 9 to 5 and our 5 to 9. Real goal, if we're going to be goal-oriented. Which is why we got to say, I'm proving this wrong, the brother wrong. It's not silly to start to be an entrepreneur while working a 9 to 5. All right. What else can we do? So with going back to some of the money that you're using to invest, that can also become a stream of income because it can compound over time. That's why it's important to invest smartly. ETFs, bonds, gold, whatever the case may be, that's also another stream of income that you can invest in that will eventually lead to your millionaire status. All right. And we're not talking about overnight. You guys, we have to get out of this popcorn way of thinking that something's going to happen instantaneously. It's not. We have to put the work in and we have to be willing to sacrifice what is necessary to put that work in. Next, I want to say utilize your employer benefits. Utilize them. Listen, take full advantage of any 401k matches. And guess what? Health saving accounts. HSA. I didn't know about HSAs until I started working in corporate. I was like, what is this? I was leaving money on the table. This is pre-tax dollars that goes to your health savings account that you use. You get a MasterCard and you use that for medical bills. So when you go into Walgreens and you have to get some pills for whatever that stomach ache that you had or your baby girl had or whatever the case may be, you can use your health savings account. You need new glasses. Your back hurts and you need to go to the chiropractor. You need to get a medical sports massage, for your back or your body. There are many things that you can use your HSA for legally because if you do things, we're not going grocery shopping with this HSA. You understand? Because Uncle Sam gonna come and they gonna find you. We don't want fines. We don't want to lose money. We want to save money, invest the money, build the money, grow the money, because we're going from a 9-to-5er to entrepreneurship. And we're being an entrepreneur while being a 9-to-5er. And sometimes you may not ever want to leave your 9-to-5. And your business is doing great. You're just doing amazing. You've been able to grow it to 6 figures, maybe even 7 figures. But you're like, nah, I still enjoy what I do for a job. And that's perfectly fine as well. I get so irritated and frustrated when people feel as though everyone has to follow the same exact formula. What I'm doing here is just giving you different options of what you can go on. You don't have to do anything of what I'm saying. You can do some of what I'm saying. You can look in. I always say, and I tell people, invest in yourself and research it for yourself, for your family. You owe yourself that. You know, I think about those that I've lost that were close to me and what they didn't get a chance to live out. And I'm talking about amazing, talented, intelligent people. My late husband, my sister, even my son that won't ever get a chance to live out to who he would have become. My nephew, gosh, who he could have become. I think about their lives, and this is why I say, listen, you have time. There are those that have this doomsday, gloomsday theory, and let's be real. There are some real things popping off in the world right now, in this country, around the world. We're not going to be naive to that, but we're not going to allow that to stop us from living and working towards our future goals, whatever that may be to you. So I want to wrap this up to saying, got me a little saying that I wrote down here, that wealth isn't just for the lucky entrepreneurs. It's for those who are consistent, informed, and willing to make smart moves with their money and their time. I want you to keep learning, keep investing, keep building. And I want you to make sure that no matter who around you may not believe in what it is that you are focused on, doesn't mean that what you're doing is wrong. Doesn't mean it's a waste of time. All right. So, all right, y'all. Thanks for joining me for another successful episode on the Why podcast, with why working a 9-to-5 to build wealth isn't silly. And as always, I'm going to leave y'all with this, especially for what I'm talking about. Question everything. Because why is always the question. And I'm out. Peace. Bye.